Hello and welcome to another recording from my channel. This will be another Star Trek Online Age of Discovery playthrough, but basically what we'll be doing this video, we'll just be looking at the Reputation Level 2 system. So status, go to Level 2, and we'll have a look at the new traits that we'll get from this tree. Okay, so let's have a quick look at Competitive War Games Tier 2. Unshaken Resolve. Attacking an enemy while they are immune to damage grants a short duration armor penetration buff to all weapons. Or if they're immune to damage, that doesn't make sense. Unless it's like once the damage is gone, you get an extra bonus damage to them for 5 seconds. For 75 armor penetration. So there's hull damage, just like for ground units, you got the armor. For ships, you got these things that strengthen your hull, and they're like a hull armor. So basically that bypasses 75% of that, which is pretty good because that hull armor does a very lot of damage resistance. Gain increased kinetic and physical damage resistance rating. Your ship will take less damage from torpedoes and hull breaches, warp core breaches. So you might have noticed through my gameplay, I've been destroyed a few times and lost quite a lot of hull through ships exploding next to me. So this is probably something. If there's nothing better, if there aren't 4 items that are better than this, I'll more than likely be getting this for sure. Okay, that's not it. That's it there. Okay. When you critically strike an enemy, you additionally take their impulse engines offline and reduce their flight speed and turn rate. Can occur once per 30 seconds. You're fighting small ships. The smaller the ship, normally the better the turn rate. So that's probably a good one if you go to the task force operations and one of your favorite ones has like smaller ships. This is probably one you'd want to use. As you can see, flight rate, turn speed is all reduced by 60%. So they can't turn their shields away from you, so once you damage their shields, you can actually do hull damage. So that's probably good for smaller enemies. Evasive Tactics. Gain immediately to control effects for... gain immunity to control effects for 5 seconds when you are a target of root, hold, disable, or repel effects. When you get stuck in a tractor beam, that's when you're being held. Root would be when you're stuck in a gravity well. Disable would be just any subsystem attack. Actually, I should be in space for these, shouldn't I? Let's have a... And then I'll come back to the ops center later on. Hopefully I've got weapons on my bridge officers. I can show you exactly what I'm talking about. Make this a little quicker. No, go away. Okay. No, that was it. Yeah. Sorry. So, disable. Do I have one? So this one here. Target shield subsystems. So what this does. You get immunity to that effect for 5 seconds. Repel is like a tractor beam, but it pushes you away instead of pulls you in. Increases the resistance to attacks and hazards which deal damage over an extended period of time. Again, things like the Gravity Well and the Tychon's Rift do damage over time. Let's have a look. Don't actually have any active on me at the moment to show you what that is. Reduces the recharge time of your bridge officer's abilities. Now, if you rely a lot on these for doing extra damage, that's quite a bit. It's only 7.5%, but every second counts, especially when you're almost out of shield and hull. You want to recharge your shields or your hull. That's a really good bonus. So you only want to get that one if you're constantly just dying just before the end of the battle. You just want that extra boost to your abilities. That would be a good one. Grants resistance to phaser damage and control effects such as whole blah blah blah. Well, see, that's only phaser damage. So if you're fighting against Klingons that do plasma and Romulans and all that sort of stuff, there's only there's 6 different energy bases, and I'm pretty sure they're equally spaced out. So that's only going to be effective for 1 in 6 enemies. Increases your damage with torpedoes. Your destructible torpedoes, such as high-yield plasma torpedoes, fly faster. Bonus torpedo damage. Just okay. So when you've got a high-yield torpedo, it's targetable. An enemy can actually fire on it and destroy it before it hits their hull. So if it's 33% faster and it does more damage, that would be a very good one. I'd assume that would work for high-yield high-yield torpedo damage with your standard torpedoes as well. Energy refrequencer. Firing directed energy weapons heals you a percentage of damage dealt. Firing directed energy weapons. So I think that's cannons and beam assaults, not beam arrays. And I don't use those, so that's not going to be very effective for me. Exotic damage-based abilities deal extra damage. Again, that would be something like the Gravity Well and Tychon's Rift, as well as a lot of other abilities. All ships' weapons will have increased armor penetration. Again, that's going to be pretty good, especially if you compare it with the first one. I'll look at the second one. One of these other ones had armor penetration, so that'd be pretty damn good. 5% penetration. Advanced engines. Turn rate. I'll be definitely getting this because flight speed and turn rate are very important. The faster you can move, the roll of the dice, as they call it, or the possibility of being hit by the enemy decreases because your flight speed kind of adds to your defense, as far as I understand the concept of the math behind the game. And also the turn rate. The faster I can turn my ship, the less damage each shield will take as it turns around. So I'll be definitely getting that one. I'm not sure if double clicking it here will actually activate it, but no, won't. Grants a minor accuracy bonus when a tactical bridge officer ability is used in space combat. Can it stack up to 5 times? +3 accuracy rating. So a tactical is the red, yellow is engineering, and blue is science. And because I'm constantly using tactical, that might actually be pretty decent. 3 accuracy rating, up to, so I'll get +15. Actually, no, I'd only use for 15 seconds. I'd only use about 3 at the most in 15 seconds, so it'd only go up to about up to 15, not 25, because you can stack 5 times. So I'd get 15. Oh no, sorry, 8 accuracy rating instead of 15. 9. My brain is not working. 3 3s of 9. Critical component redistribution improves your starship's resistance to control effects and improves your anti-proton damage resistance in space combat. So again, the anti-proton is like the phaser damage. You get a bonus to the resistance to anti-proton damage. And a resistance to tractor beams and stuff like that. So, again, unless you like a lot of task force operations where you're fighting the enemy that has this particular energy damage, it might not be useful. But also, once you get to the episode arcs where the enemies use the anti-proton damage, you might just activate it until you finish that episode arc. Same with the phases. Advanced targeting system slightly increases critical severity in space combat, plus 16% critical severity. Again, that works in conjunction with critical hit percentage, so the more likely I'd hit critically, the better that is for you. Provides minor damage resistance in space combat. Plus 10 base damage to all incoming damage. So that's kinetic and energy damage. So that's actually pretty good to your hull. So that will actually be pretty good for any combat situations. That's resistance to anti-proton, phaser, plasma, and everything else. Precision. Okay, there you go. The previous one had 16% critical hit damage. This has a 4% critical hit chance. So those two in conjunction should be pretty good. Enhanced shield systems. Maximum shield capacity. That is something I will get. Something that increases my shields, because your shields can take a little bit more than your hull. Once your hull is exposed, it's going to get damaged pretty quick. So you want to have something that increases your shields, and also something that helps your turn rate, so your shields can repair themselves as you turn. Okay, this bypasses shields for 5%. So for every 100 damage you do to the ship's shields, 5% of that will go through the shields to the hull. That's pretty good. Fortified hull. Again, hull capacity. Once your shields are down, your hull gets hit. They go down pretty quick. So 7% extra hull is a very big boost. Okay, so what this does is it puts a bubble around your ship. I think it's a 2 kilometer radius either side, so a 4 kilometer radius bubble, and it just regenerates your hull and the hull of your companions in combat, I believe. Mega kinetic shearing. Kinetic torpedoes and mines deal additional damage as a shield penetrating damage over time over 6-second period. Kinetic torpedoes. Well, all things are kinetic, so I'm not sure what they mean by kinetic torpedoes. The amount of additional damage dealt is proportional to the already strengthened damage dealt by the triggering projectile prior to applying the target's resistance, if any. As such, it cannot be further strengthened but is still subject to resistance. Deals 10% of your outgoing damage as damage over time for 6 seconds. Again, so it basically gives you 60% extra damage. So instead of just giving... So when I was playing the Romulans, when my ship got hit, you would notice that the hull was slowly going down over time, even though I wasn't being hit by anything. That's damage over time. And an extra 10% of your damage. So for every 100 points of damage you do, the ship's damage will take an extra 6 points of damage. And because they are in the thousands of damage, the torpedoes, that's like 60 damage, 120 damage over every second for 6 seconds. Okay. And the lucky last. Hardened sensors. Plus 30 base control and drain resistance. Again, that's tractor beams, and there's also a tractor beam that drains the shields as well. So that's something for that. Enhanced sensors. When attacking a captain's ability, 15% control and drain effectiveness. So the shields will drain 15% faster. So if you want to get the hull damage in there, that will help with that. Okay, we've been through them all. Let's go have a look at them. And again, if you can't remember, you just activate that and it'll show you. That's the one I definitely want. And there it is. Bonus. Oh yeah, that's a good one, so let's activate that. Not important to me. Even though it's a really good one, I'm pretty sure there were a few others in here that were more important to me than that at this point. Once I unlock the 5th one, I'll have to come back and have a look. Again, I don't always go up against those enemies. Don't always go up against those enemies. You want your hull to heal, so that's a good one for now. But I might replace the 3rd one at this point. Armor penetration isn't as good as shield penetration as far as I'm concerned, but everyone's got their own gameplay. So these are bridge officer abilities, these are captain abilities. You can actually put the bridge officer abilities in here, so don't get them confused. Make sure you keep them separate. But these are the captain's abilities. Okay, so this is the one I was talking about. The shield penetration is a good one. Ooh, maximum shield capacity. What was this one? Yeah. So I'll close that one off. Activate that one. And again, about not even halfway through, and I've already maxed this out. You can only have 5, and don't forget that once you get to level 4, you'll actually get another 24 to choose from if you activate all of them. So these ones may be slightly better, but again, once you get to this, 1, 2, so that's level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, and then level 5 is a random one. They all go up a little bit in ability. So yeah, that's going to be fun once we get to level 6. Just to see if it's worth... sorry, level 4. No, level 4. To see which out of the 24, which 5 we can choose out of the 24 which are good. Okay, so that's the reputation system for level 2. What else did I want to show? As you can see, I am collecting everything. I am going through these, and I am slowly going through them. Let's have a look if I've got any skill points to spend. Only 8,000. Okay, so let's go to level 4, because I know that all the way through to 3 I'm done, I'm pretty sure. Yep, so level 4, and as you can see, what I did is, on my main character, I activated at least 5 of each of these by using my R&D to create them, as well as going to the option, the officer that sells them and buying 5 of each. And I went through my main character, who had pretty much all of them that I've collected over the last couple of years, and I'm just slowly moving on from one character to the other until I can get them all maxed out. It looks like I've already done level 4, level 3, so when you're doing this, even if they're not lit up, you just want to have a quick look down the bottom. As long as you've got more up here than you do here, they should be, glow blue if you can do them. So 2,000, so I can do something here maybe. Nope. 2,000 again, and as you can see, it should go up from 2,000 to 2,001, or oh, there you go, 300. Go. And I don't have any more for this particular level. Let's see. Okay, I can only get 1, so we'll have a quick look. I'll get the one at the bottom, and you'll see that this one, it won't darken like these, but these ones will stay active, so you can actually see that if you had the points, you could buy them. So let's... And there you can see, it went grey, but it didn't grey out the entire box. So these 6 I can still get, and then I've got some here. Just up the top here. Okay, 1, 2, 3. So I've got another 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Probably 8,000 to spend here, and another 1,500 here. Okay, so let's see. I just wanted to make this a quick reputation video, but we'll just quickly go through and see if there's anything else that we need to. And again, I forgot to check the stats as I increased my traits. Okay, so let's go here. What was this one? Okay, that's not gonna... Maximum shield, so let's just leave that open. Hopefully it will stay open and we can find it. It's the 3rd or 4th one from the bottom. So let's have a quick look at the status. The shields are 9,700. $9,700, and they go up to 10,300. So they went up another 600 points of damage resistance. Sorry, damage taking. Let's see what the other ones were. Okay, this should also be... okay, resistance 53 pretty much all the way through, 48 down here. $57, so it went up 4 points. Or maybe 4 point something points, because that was 48. It's almost 5. So 4 point something points for that one. flight turn speed? I think this turn speed was down the bottom. Turn rate is 6 degrees every second. Flight speed is 28.2. So 28 and 9.6. Nope, not that one. 28 and 9.6 to 31. I didn't change 9 point. I think that might only work while you're actively in combat. Let's have a look what that said. Passive. Unless 9.6 is the maximum turn rate you can have. Nope, it doesn't say anything about a maximum, so who knows. But as you can see that the shields went up quite a bit. Damage resistance in general went up a bit. Flight speed went up. So in sector space, while you're flying across the sector, you should go up in speed slightly. So if you find that too slow, you just go to your traits, find anything that will increase your speed. The only problem with that is you've got to change it when you go back to your mission fighting if you want a particular trait that you had to unlock. But again, if you don't activate any of these, you can still play the game. This just makes it a little bit easier, a little bit quicker to get through the missions. Everything that increases your hull damage resistance, your shield resistance, is going to help you last longer in battle. And the last STO I played, I took a lot of damage and died a couple of times, while most of my teammates, I think only 2 of them died once. The other 2 just kept going. So they obviously had maxed out a lot of these, probably even had level 6 in reputation and got that extra bonus to it. So 62 willpower, the other one was probably out 58 willpower. It just gives you that extra bit of bonus to it. Okay, if you want me to do any more... Oh, wait a minute. Almost completely forgot. Dock at Space 9. Beam directly to Ops. So we'll have a quick look at the messages that unlocked with level 2 of the reputation system.
Does anyone need training?
Everyone needs training. Deja vu. Okay, Lakari level 2.
Captain's log, 4th Reckoning, Chronicle 62. We have arrived at the Mivix system with a delegation from planet Proven. Our orders are to restore the biosphere of Proven, and we're eager to begin, but there are some obstacles to deal with. The Provini Council is unable to reach a decision on the restoration of their homeworld. Some wish to establish the world as it was in their golden age, while others wish to restore Proven to the stage it was in before the Zemkethi attack. Debates on the matter have often become heated. I've had to break up 2 duels between Provini Council members thus far. I don't recommend the experience. A diplomatic envoy from Beta Z shall arrive soon to assist us. She has considerable skill in such matters and was eager to make the journey, despite her advanced age.
Until they said advanced age, I was assuming it might be Deanna Troy. Yay.
After action report stardate 9528.1, Commander Narrator reporting. There are days when the duties of my chosen profession are almost too much to bear. My assignment took me to the 23rd century and my homeworld, Cardassia Prime. Posing as an agent of the Obsidian Order was repugnant, but it provided access to the resources I needed to succeed. A group of Nakul, working with local revolutionaries, was planning to detonate a photon bomb in a marketplace. I exposed their operation to the Order. Their response was predictably swift and final. Had the Nakul succeeded, they would have started a chain of events leading to the founding of a Cardassian democracy in 2313. They would have also claimed the life of a 5-year-old boy named Prokal Dukat.
Dukat is the main antagonist of Deep Space Nine, the TV series.
I have ensured the birth of Prokal's infamous son and preserved the timeline. I have done my duty, but take no pride in doing so.
Oh, it was the father of Dukat. Okay, awesome. So I like how they... it's just a game, but they've written this into it as a backstory for no reason other than to make it more entertaining. So if you're a fan of Star Trek and you know the names, it actually, you're like, ooh, hey.
personal log, Admiral Lita. Our temporal visitors have given us quite a few gifts. At first, my engineers were pessimistic about understanding future technology. A few trips to the Agony booth have cured them of their misgivings. Our benefactors have come from our far future to ensure that their world comes to pass. For that to happen, we must defeat the Iconians, and our descendants have given us the weapons to do so. Of course, as Admiral in command of the fleet's flagship, I must insist on the first set of upgrades. Once the Enterprise has the power to dominate the fleet, I can give new weapons to my subordinates, but only to those who prove their loyalty.
And that's it. And as you can see, once I activate them, I did actually get some experience points from it. So it is part of the ongoing story of the game. So let's head for the Dyson Sphere. Okay, I just edited out a whole heap of footage because I went to the wrong sphere. Then there was a message up here saying that I had to go back to Deep Space Nine and check something, which happened to be the first Lucuri report, so I just went and rewatched it and it activated. And then when I got here, I was lost and accidentally activated the science lab, which is where I had to get the second message, which is this round door. But if you have actually gotten to that, you can actually come back to this console and rewatch all the messages. So we'll just go rewatch the second message. Okay.
I was pleased to receive your message, even if I have to keep this conversation a secret from everyone I know. There are many topics that have been deemed controversial and off-limits. Inquisitors examine our work on a regular basis, but questions need to be asked if we are to maintain any sort of scientific credibility. Have you ever wondered at the fact that both our people were able to enter this sphere from opposite ends? That we could move through halls, through rooms, through entire buildings without finding another living thing? Until we encountered one another. The Ministry of Elders would have me publish papers claiming that this sphere was created by our ancestors. But why would they abandon this place? Why would anyone abandon this place? As far as I can tell, this place was commissioned but not built by a race called the Iconians. A war forced them to abandon their home in favor of this more strategic location. Imagine how many fleets of warships could fit inside here, fed by food grown on thousands of hectares of carefully constructed surfaces, powered by the entire energy of a star, and all waiting to ambush from the dark space of the night sky. The Voth are not warmongers. We have taught doctrine to weaker species, but weapons are usually not required. When the Voth have encountered opposition, we have resisted attempts by others to add us to their own ranks. Fights between evenly matched adversaries tend to be futile. A sphere might convince some that the odds have shifted in our favor. Which brings us back to my first question. Why did the original inhabitants of the sphere leave? Did they feel safe and pick a fight against a superior enemy and lose? Or were they forced to leave by some internal flaw in their fortress? We may all be doomed to the fate of those who lived here before if we aren't careful.
And that's that. Okay, so if you have any comments, you want to see any more in-depth information, I'll do my best. But that's pretty much everything I can think of for the Reputation Level 2 system. If you have any comments, leave them down below. Any criticism, I'm more than happy to take, but I just ask that you keep it civil down below. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.